I've had some people send me private messages saying, I'm going to look at a Farmall M, I'm going to look at a Farmall C. What are some of the things that I need to look for when I go and look at that machine? Today I'm going to tell you my top 5. Stay tuned. All right, first thing I want to tell you, yes, this is a Farmall H, a 1949 Farmall H. But the first thing I want to tell you is these top 5 of mine are personally mine. You may agree with some, you may disagree with some, but the reality is they would apply to a lot of different tractors. If you were going to look at a John Deere B or a John Deere A, whatever, these would also apply. Now, you can see the tractor is sitting there. It looks to be in pretty good shape. All right. Now, they made just under 400,000 of these Farmall H's. And since we have an H in front of us, we'll talk about H's. And also, we're going to be talking about gas tractors because that's what this is too. And that's what a lot of your antique tractors are. All right. But they made a lot of these tractors. A lot of them are still in operation. Some of them are being scrapped on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. It is sad but true. It is happening. Tractors are being turned into parts tractors and whatnot. So the value is increasing, in my opinion, as time goes on. But it's going to be another 50 to 100 years before these things are worth a lot of money, if then. So, but anyways, let's go right in. I'm going to go to my most important, right on down to the least of the 5. All 5 are important, don't get me wrong, but I'm going right out of the gate here. Number 1, the tires and the wheels. Why would the tires and the wheels be the first thing I look at on an antique tractor? Because these can run you, if you have to replace the tires, the wheels, the rims, etc., they can run you more than the tractor is worth. So first thing I do on an antique tractor is I walk up to the tires and I look at them. What percent tread? Oh, and I can tell you these got a lot of tread on them. I mean, we got the gap or the seam right there still intact. We got some of the little knobbies going on there. Good tread, good skins. I'm in a happy mood already. The second thing I do is I walk over here and I pop this gas cap off. And no, my new cap isn't in yet, but it is on the way. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this off. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to see the condition of that tank. This is the genesis of the entire fuel system. If the tank is dirty, rusty, whatnot, especially rusty, that's a problem, because if you're starting off bad with rusty and you know, sediment and whatnot in your tank, it's not going to bode well once it gets over here to your carburetor. Now, this is your carburetor. There's tiny little jets and stuff in there. It does not take a whole bunch to clog those up. It really does not. Some of you that have been with the channel longer know that I have an inline filter on my M. On this H, I have not done that yet. I will get around eventually to doing it. So the top 2 things so far: wheels, tires, rims. Check the rims. Are they loaded? How do you tell if they're loaded? Well, I like to kick them, and you get a certain sound down below. If you get to the top, well, it sounds differently. They're loaded. You can also, when you test drive the tractor, and we'll get to that here in a second, you can hit the brakes and stop, shut the tractor off and listen. Sometimes you'll hear sloshing in the tires. Or if you got an honest seller, you can just ask him. So there we go. So we got wheels, we got tires, wheels, rims, gas tank. The next thing I check is drips underneath. Now, it's not that big of a deal to have some dripping underneath. These are old tractors. They mark their territory. And there's even an old saying, nothing under them, nothing in them. You know, I kind of believe that, yeah, if there is actually something in them. But you can actually have a tractor that's low on oil, and that's the only reason it's not leaking oil. If this is at a dealership, go and get a big, huge piece of cardboard, maybe from a refrigerator, and lay it underneath that tractor, as long as it'll go. Clear up here to reach up under the radiator, clear back underneath everything else, and leave it there overnight, and then come back and and check it the next day. Now, I will tell you, in most dealerships, when they have these antique tractors sitting out on the lot, it's not unusual for them to sit there for days or weeks on end without the dealer even checking them. So the odds of them finding that piece of cardboard laying there before you, about a miracle to none, and a miracle just left town. So they're not going to find it. What that's going to tell you is what exactly is leaking. Okay, so that's one thing I do. Now, if this is for sale by owner, which I do prefer, because you're going to actually be able to pay what the tractor is worth versus typically you're going to get a better price from a private owner, no doubt about it. Okay, so that's three things. Check the runs, the drips, the leaks, the errors. If this was a diesel, okay, it's not, it's a gas job. One of the things I like to do is I like to go up and take the back of my hand and put it on the engine. Now, why do I do that? Because I want to know if that guy had that tractor running before I got there. Why do I want to know that? Because it could be ether addicted to the point where at least the first start out of the day, you got to use ether to start it. That could eventually mean a rebuild, an engine rebuild. You get the American 282 that was put in the 656s, and admittingly they were the worst engines, in my opinion, that International Farmall ever built. You could be out in the field in the summertime, 100 degrees out, shut that tractor down with the 282, and you come back and still have a hard time starting it, even though you ran it for 3-4 hours and it's 100 degrees out. That's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, leave a comment down below. Okay, so we've got tires, rims, wheels, gas tank, leaks. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to check the pedals. And when I say the pedals, I'm talking about the clutch. And there is some play in that, okay? The clutch and the brakes. Now, these are band brakes. This is a Farmall H. The Supers went with the discs. But you can see how you adjust this. It's, you know, you just screw it in or screw it out. And it's about halfway. So there's some adjustment to be made. It's working pretty good. Brakes, you're going to want to check those. The last thing that you're going to want to do, and I'm only giving you 5, okay? I'm hoping that you participate in this reindeer game here and that you leave comments down below. If I was to give you 20, if I was to give you 30 or 40, this would be a 3-hour video. Not going to fly on YouTube. So that's 4. Check your pedals, check your brakes, and how you're going to do that. Now, if I go to buy a tractor off an owner, first thing I'm going to have him do is take it for a test drive while I watch him drive it. If there is something drastically wrong with this tractor, like the front end's ready to come apart, it's going to happen on him, not me. Okay, so once I see him drive it, then I'm going to get up and drive it. I'm going to take it through every gear, 1st through 5th. Doesn't mean I'm going to, you know, put it in top speed in 5th gear and go, but I am going to check the clutch in operation, and I'm going to check both sides of the brakes. All right, so we're on the brake side. Now, when I'm out in the field, I'm going to a little latch that goes across here so that when you hit this, it becomes one brake pedal, okay? And then when you're working the field, you flip that, and this stops that tire, and that stops that tire, and you can turn on a dime, give 9 cents back. Okay, now I'm gonna check both sides. Okay, I'm gonna check it in, you know, road brake mode. And then I'm going to flip and check both sides, just see how the brakes are. Now, these brakes are easy peasy to change. But it's still, these little things can start to add up on these tractors, and you can have a bundle in them before you know it. And so those are my main 5 things. If you're going to go look at an antique tractor of any type, those are the things I would dig into first. Leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you at the next video. Boom!